Hi everyone, so excited to be here this morning. Yeah, so I'm Stephanie Springer, Brittney's right there. We are part of the Applied Humanities internship team, and we are so excited to be here to talk with you about how you can love your future. And we are going to share some of our tips and strategies for internships and job searching, because those strategies will help you feel more confident in your love journey. So again, I'm Stephanie, Brittney, we use she, her pronouns. We have a lot of history here at the U of A helping students find internships and jobs. And so we're happy to lean into the decade of experience that we both have to help you navigate your future. So now I want you to put your hand to your heart right now and show me 5 of your fingers if you know exactly what you want to do for your career. Show me 3 if you have a general idea of what you want to do for your career. 1 digit if you need help figuring out what you want to do. And you can have a 4 or a 2 if you're somewhere in between. Great. I love it. I saw some 1s, which makes sense. I saw some 2s, also makes sense. 3s, 4s, and 5s. All right. Keep your hand to your heart and show me 5 digits if you have a solid plan for how to search for opportunities, 3 digits if you have a general plan, and 1 digit if you need help. So, at your heart so I can see. Yeah, well, good news, you're in the right spot for help. And good news, Brittney and I will remain a resource for you even after today's presentation. And so if you want to continue the conversation with us, we welcome your outreach to us. All right, so the 3 strategies that we're going to share today include the following. Number 1, open your heart. Number 2, explore your options. And number 3, be bold. Now you're going to see that Brittney and I are leaning into the theme. I wore my pink jacket. Brittney's got red on. That's what Brittney calls red. We're leaning into the love your future theme. And so, bear with us. Extend your giggles, or at least smile at some of the jokes that we're going to play. All right, so strategy 1, open your heart to love your future. So strategy 1 is important. But before I get into that strategy, let me ask this question. What is the point of college? So now with somebody nearby, you chat with that person or people about what is the point of college. So take a moment, chat with a neighbor. All right, I want to hear some brave souls share some of your ideas. What are some of the points to college? This is where you get brave, you raise your hand, or you shout out the answer. What's the point of college? Yeah. To further your education. Yeah. Other points or purposes of college. Yes. More experience for your career after. Yes. Any other ideas on other reasons? Yes. To help you narrow down what you might want to do after college. Yes. Networking, yeah, to expand the people that you know and also the ideas that you're exposed to. So those are all great ideas. So Brittney and I did some brainstorming ahead of time, and we came up with some of the other reasons that might be the point of investing this time and energy into your college experience. So to gain knowledge, to gain skills, to gain experiences, to expand your mind, to be able to launch your career, and to assist you in your journey to becoming a globally minded citizen. So launch your career is bolded, because today we're going to talk about some of the strategies you can use that have begun during your college career that can help you launch that career. So another question, what will your career be? Now this question is not a question for you to answer, but rather I'm going to tell you what some of the careers our alumni have. Oh, that's silly. Let me go here first. Okay, so this is the list of careers that our alumni have. And these careers are chosen specifically because these are the careers that folks who are joining us for the alumni panel and the alumni lunch today, these alumni have these careers. And so you can see from the diversity of the roles, the responsibilities, and also the organizations that they're working with, that opportunities are vast. Humanities graduates are working in every industry. they're working in every field. And the reason they're able to work in every industry, in every field, is because a humanities education prepares you with an incredibly diverse skill set. You can see some of the skills listed here, and this list could be much, much, much longer. But some of the skills that you're developing, that you're flexing during your college experience, during your time in the College of Humanities, include your critical thinking, your communication skills. And communication skills are verbal skills, written skills, digital skills, presentation skills, etc. You're prioritizing, because you don't just have one boss like you might have in your career. You probably have 5 different professors in the course of one semester, and that's kind of like having 5 different bosses. And then maybe you actually have jobs where you have other bosses, and then maybe you're involved in extracurricular activities, and those advisors are also bosses. And so you have to prioritize and juggle the different responsibilities that you have during your college career. You also have innovation skills, initiation skills, problem-solving skills. You have high intercultural intelligence, and you might also be bilingual or multilingual. So these are all skills that employers value. So what's important is learning how to talk about your skills and highlighting to other people the transferability of the skills. The skills that you're learning in the classroom and on the college campus have a lot of value for other situations that you'll find yourself in. So why is it so important to be open to love your future? The reason that it is so important to be open is because the future is fluid. We don't know exactly what will occur in the next 5 years, 10 years, 50 years. And that's exciting and also a little bit scary, of course. So these are a couple of the different headlines that are out there right now that really represent the fact that industries are evolving at an accelerated pace of creation and destruction. There are many different jobs that didn't exist 10 years ago, and there will be many jobs that you hold throughout your career that we can't even conceptualize at this moment because the opportunities, maybe the technology, maybe the experiences don't yet exist. And so if we look at this long list of jobs that didn't exist just 10 years ago. Can you imagine not having access to podcasts? Like that's like such a normal part of many people's daily lives, but that's a job that didn't exist just 10 years ago. So many of these jobs, we'll see another list like this in 5 years, in 10 years, with jobs that right now we can't even conceptualize, that at that moment in time we'll be like, how did we live without blank? The future is fluid, not only because jobs are being created and destructed every day, but also because our personal circumstances change, because of our health status and what's going on in the global health economy. Those things also impact the creation of jobs and also the choices that we make. Our relationships change. We have different caregiving responsibilities, or different love interests, or different people that we want to invest our time in. And so that changes also what decisions we make about our career. And then, of course, there's things that are external to us. The global situation, the political situation, the economy. Those are things that we can't control, but they absolutely affect our work life. And know this, that 4.1 years is the median number of years that people in the US stay with their employer. So that means that over the course of a career, folks are often having at least 12 job changes. And this number is increasing all the time. And in fact, for folks who are between 25 to 34, their job changes are happening on average every 2.8 years. So I want to reassure you that the job you start with after college will not be the last job that you have. And so your job when you're in that position is to figure out what skills you like to use, what skills you might not like to use, and also to identify skill gaps. All right, I'm going to hand the mic to my colleague.
Thanks, Stephanie. Okay, so we're still in the strategy of opening your heart. And so we might wonder like, okay, I think I'm pretty open, but what does that actually look like? Well, for us, it's really changing your mentality from career planning to career discovery, because that's the way to go when you're operating and navigating a future that's fluid. So career planning, we might be like, especially for those who are like high achieving, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna graduate at this time, I'm gonna do exactly this and have exactly this job title, and that's what success is gonna mean for me. But because so many things change and the future is fluid, there's no way that we could possibly prepare or factor in all the different factors that might change our route or change our planning. So we encourage you instead to consider a mindset of career discovery. So what that means, career planning is more like The Notebook. I don't know if this is, who's seen The Notebook? Okay, that makes me feel so much better. I was concerned that you hadn't seen it. So The Notebook is career planning. It's the burden of finding one true love, one romance, one person that's gonna make your heart fill with love at the expense of all others. And when you're trying to find this person, it's very burdensome. It's needle in a haystack. It feels stressful, it feels anxious. You're like, how am I gonna find this person? Where could they be? There's this stress that there's only one. Because if there's only one, what if you don't find it? That would be very stressful. That is anxiety inducing. So that when we think about career planning, you're like, all right, I haven't found it yet. And so you're stressed about it. So that's the career planning mindset. So when we're asking you to be open, we're asking you to be more, have a career discovery mindset, which is more love is blind, Love Island, right? This is more where it's like, you're just open to what's out there. Many options you could see yourself with. The Bachelorette, the Bachelor, think of those types of things. You might have something in your mind, but then someone new comes in the villa and you're like, hold on a second, I'm kind of into that opportunity. So this is what we're asking you to do, is be open and have that mindset of what could be out there for you, because you don't know until you experience it, and you don't know until you discover it or stumble upon it or bump into it or are recommended it or try it out. So with the career discovery mindset, we're worrying less about choosing right. That's too much pressure. We don't want to worry about choosing right or making the right decision. That can be super stressful. Instead, we're focused on exploring and discovering many options, many paths, different roles, seeing what the vibe is. Do I like this? Is this something I enjoy? Is this something I mostly enjoy? Is this something I'm interested in getting to know more, see how I can develop, where I can see myself really blossoming here? This is really the mindset that we want you to have when you think about being open and opening your heart and your mind to career discovery. So we're gonna practice a little bit right now and see what that looks like in a tangible way. So right now, Stephanie's passing out a handout. And so what we're gonna ask you to do is, in general, a lot of times when we think about discover your future, we're so focused on job titles. But that is another thing that is fluid. Right now there's someone out there whose job is marketing wizard or something very catchy and buzzwordy like that. So we don't know job titles all the time, but we might know a certain industry or a certain skill or a certain quality that we like in an opportunity. And so what we'll ask you to do on that worksheet is, this is where it says open your heart activity. So there's some prompts there that no matter where you're starting, you can circle some industries that you're interested in. There's a list of industries that's pulled from Occupational Outlook Handbook, which is a huge database of employer and employment career data. So you can circle at least two. It's just like, I'm just interested in it. I'm not committing to it forever. I'm just kind of interested in it. Then there's some prompts below that you don't have to fill out. We don't want you to feel like you're doing homework right now, or this is a huge, Math 112 exam. You're just gonna pick some prompts that feel like come natural to you, or you have some words that come to mind. There's a bunch there. For example, what's one skill that you would want to learn that's out of your comfort zone? Or one skill that you have that you'd want to develop further. Don't worry about if you can do it now or if you have time to do it now. We're just thinking about what you want to do. We're just imagining right now. Another one is, what types of jobs or project or responsibilities are you interested in? If you're like, I definitely like planning. I do not like public speaking. I don't want to do this. So think of when you go to work or when you go to do something, what do you like to do? What are those responsibilities? And if you're considering that, think of what people ask you to do. What do your friends come to you for? What do they rely on you to do? Sometimes that can help spark what you would be good at doing in a career. Or maybe think about your work environment. What's your dream team made of? Your colleagues, your supervisor, your mentors. What qualities do they have that make work a joy or lovely for you? Like one of mine, Stephanie and I work very closely together. It's just joking around. We spend a lot of time joking around. If we're not laughing in the office, then I'm not happy. So that's something that's very important to me, even though it seems silly or something that I wouldn't find in a job description. That's something I value. It brings me joy at work. So don't censor yourself to what sounds good or sounds professional. Think of what would actually bring you joy. And then another one is, what does your environment look like? We know now work modality, even working hybrid, working remote, those are realities for young people out of college that weren't as much available before COVID as they are now in a remote and like global work environment. So take a second, we'll just take a real quick second to just turn to someone next to you and share one of your notes, because it's helpful sometimes to see what people are interested in or how they've identified their interests. So it can be the same person, it could just be someone close. Just maybe share one thing that you circled or highlighted or wrote down on your worksheet. Go for it. Okay, I want to hear at least one. Does anyone want to share something they heard from their partner, from themselves? Oh yeah, Delilah, right up front. Peyton, you said public speaking is something you want to learn. Oh, I'm so proud. Applied Humanities students want to public speak. All right. Quickly, just filling my heart with joy there. Fantastic. Okay. So the first strategy was be open. Open your heart to opportunities. Second strategy, explore your options. See what's out there. Find the spark. So what does that look like? Consider, for the most part, where we find opportunities, love included, is online. So internet job boards, databases, research tools, they're integral in your research and job opportunity strategies in your approach. Many of them, dating apps, like job boards, they're algorithm based. The more information you give to them, the more preferences you let them know, the more and the smarter they'll get at recommending opportunities that might be a fit for you. So it's helpful to build a robust profile, right? No one's swiping right on a profile with no picture. That's just not happening. So same thing with job and internship applications. The more information you give to those platforms and those profiles, the more appealing your profile will be to recruiters, employers, other students to reach out and connect to you. So one of the resources that is it is the #1 way that college students find full-time jobs and internships is Handshake. Handshake is a platform you already have access to as a U of A student. So it's a hub of just all things career. So it's a job and internship platform. It has a messaging app. When employers have visit campus or they have career fairs, it's all posted in Handshake. And it's something that you don't have to create. It's not different. It's not yet another platform that you have to access. You already have access to it as a U of A student. And there's an app and there's a desktop version. So we can talk about keeping those opportunities at your fingertips. And it's not just a U of A thing, it's nationwide. 100% of the Fortune 500 recruits on Handshake. And there's over 900,000 employers. That number used to be 700,000 years ago. And so it continues to grow with opportunities posted on Handshake. So in terms of how you access it, so it's arizona.handshake.com. And that's what the app looks like, that icon. And one of the things I wanted to show is just an example of what an opportunity might look like there when you search for jobs. And I highlighted just that little button that says save, because one of the strategies that we'll ask, is that you start to peruse opportunities and not like set the bar so high, but just mark what's interesting, just to start to explore your options, to see what's out there. And again, you don't have to, just to start looking, you don't have to know exactly what you want. You just have to get an idea of what you like. You're just browsing. You're not committing to anything. You don't have to find, again, the needle in the haystack. You can just go on and say, like, this is kind of cool. I'd be interested in that. I'd try that out. Maybe I'll apply, maybe I won't, but I'm just gonna save it just to see what's out there. So you don't have to know exactly what it is. You're just testing to see what you like, and you're like, I'm kind of interested in this. Or I find myself thinking of that position, or I find myself, considering what it might be like to work there. So for example, here's an internship description we pulled just this past week at Netflix. This is a summer internship job. And one of the reasons why I pulled this job is because I have no idea what it is. I've never asked a student what they want to do or what kind of internship they want, and they're like, oh, I'm really passionate about media workflows and systems. I'm like, okay, that answer never comes up. But this is what things are called. And so I'm like, okay, well, if I don't know what that's called, how do I know what they do? Well, I'm just gonna explore. I'm gonna check out their profile, right? I'm just gonna see. And in general, especially for internships, they're just telling you what type of person would be good at this, not exactly what you have to have or be qualified to do. With jobs, there might be more strict requirements for qualifications, but with internships, it's like, this is the type of person you are. So I highlighted just some things that might have sparked your interest, or when I read it, it's like, just have an affinity for making things. I'm like, all right, yeah, I can make things. Or maybe experience listening to multiple perspectives and needs and synthesizing insights. So many of you as humanities students have that qualification already. Another interesting thing about just getting out there and exploring your opportunities and exploring your options is that once you get out there, you can start to sort of speak the language of career. And so when you're trying to describe yourself or you're trying to talk about what you want, you can use some of the language there that they've used. Or maybe like, if you've looked at dating profiles, you're like, I like that was a good question, I'm stealing it. I'm using it for myself. You can do the same thing with internship and job opportunities. You're like, this is how I want to describe myself. I am good at listening to multiple perspectives and synthesizing needs. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that in my application materials. We're curious about learning technology. Even just a show of hands. Has anyone seen this job description before? A couple? Who would actually be like, oh, I'd save that? Anybody? I'd save it, kind of interested in it. Yeah, a couple of hands. We would have never known that this even exists because I would never type in the box media workflows and systems intern, never. But it's out there if we just use a couple keywords and poke around and see what's out there and be curious. So one of the actions to take was to keep an interesting job list, which is why I noted just this feature in Handshake that you can save any opportunities and it will keep a list for you of all the opportunities that you've saved. So you can start to see that list together and be like, what do these have in common? Oh, I noticed a lot of them have to do with technology, interesting. Or I noticed a lot of them talk about my critical thinking skills. So you can save that and keep an interesting job list. So now let's do a little bit of exploring our options. So this is the exploring your options activity. If you flip over the back of that white worksheet, part of exploring your options is knowing how to explore and what to type in the box. This is always like the moment of anxiety. You open that jobs tab and you're like, all right, I'm open to my options. And humanities, I don't know, like what do I type in the box? So sometimes we get tripped up over what we say, and you can use any of the buzzwords or any of the key skills to find opportunities. It doesn't have to be a title. That's what we want to move away from. It doesn't have to be a job title. You can brainstorm keywords that you'll type into a search box. It can be a title. If you're like social media intern, I know I want to do that. That's fine. It can be a title. It can be a responsibility. Verbs. I don't know what the job is, but I'm good at organizing. I'm good at planning. I'm good at theorizing. I'm good at translating. I'm good at synthesizing. Think verbs. You can type that into the box. It's just a search box. You can try it out. How about qualities? Creative, enthusiastic, sense of humor. I always add that just to see, like, I don't know what the job is, but if an employer would appreciate a sense of humor, I might be into it. So you can just type it in. Tools or software, TikTok, Adobe, Photoshop, Excel, whatever it is. If there's a tool that you're like, I'm really good at this, you can type the tool in there, and that will cut across industry and across job title, because whatever job you look pops up, we'll use that tool. Or just location and modality. You can use filters. You're like, I've got some constraints. I need to stay close to family. I don't even want to type in a word. I just know I need to be in Chicago this summer, and it needs to be remote. That's fine. So you can use some of those filters. So on the back of your worksheet where it says the Explore Your Options activity, consider, instead of just typing in the box your major, because employers don't think in terms of major. They think in terms of skills. They're not like, we're really, like, if you type in religious studies, you're not going to get much. You're going to consider the skills that you build by studying religious studies. That's what an employer thinks about. So instead of typing your major into the box, those two boxes on the back of your worksheet, think of just two things you might type into the box to find an opportunity that would spark your interest. Think of just two things. Or in the bullet point below, what are some filters you might add to change the modality? Is there a location you're really passionate about being in? Is there like a modality if you're like, it's got to be hybrid, or I really want to be in person? So consider those things. And of course, we're going to ask you to share. So you can get with the same partner or share with someone else. Share at least one thing that you might type into the box that you wouldn't have before we started this morning. Go for it. Okay. You know we're in the business of hearing people's ideas and collaborating and just taking other ideas for, our own inspiration. So let's hear some things that people are interested in or would type into the search box. At least 3. Yeah, we've got one back here.
So, one of my majors is public health. So I put like healthcare consultant, public policy, and health management, just as they're all sort of.
Yeah, I can't even repeat those back to you. Public management, healthcare, consultant, all those are incredible words because you didn't type in one title because you might really limit yourself. But those words might be sprinkled in a bunch of titles and a bunch of opportunities that might sound interesting to you. Great. Yeah, Alex. Yeah, so maybe a split between qualities of the responsibilities and the actual location. So management consulting and then Phoenix or whatever city you're interested in. Yeah, you can do both because you never know what you might find. Great. Here's at least 2 more. Yeah, right here.
I said childcare or children's social work.
Yeah, childcare, children's social work, you can split them up and just see like how many hits you get because you're just gonna gauge. I mean, we're all good at seeking information, right? Like if I told you right now, find this person's Instagram, someone could do it in 15 minutes. I know you could. So information seeking, you've all got it. So you can gauge like how many results you get based on the words and the keywords that you use to see like what's a more effective search or what's a term that's more commonly used in that industry. Yeah, let's go one more. Yeah.
I put social media manager.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to run that'd be cool to run a company social media because I feel like it's a major mode of communication between the common person and the actual company. So.
Yeah, so we have a title there, social media manager. And that's another thing too, you can change it, social media manager, social media management. And then as you start to review those, you can see what do they call it? Content creation, those types of things to expand your keywords until you get it really dialed in. And once you do get it dialed in, one of the features that most search platforms have is if you get a search and you're like, ooh, this found some good results. There's some in there that I don't love, but in general, it found some good results. There's typically a feature where you can save a search. Or in Handshake, it will say, notify me when jobs like this pop up again, and you can toggle a little switch. And you'll get notified, you'll get sent an email, or it will go to your app. Every time a job's posted, that meets that same criteria. And that is a great way to be prompted to search, because I don't know a single student, after a tough week, going out on Thursday, coming to a humanities presentation on Friday, settles in, gets back to your dorm and is like, oh, there's nothing I'd love to do more than search for some internships right now. That just doesn't happen. But you will be prompted to apply for things when you see those opportunities pop up in your phone. You're like, the deadline is Sunday. Okay, I'm gonna do that. But without those deadlines, if you're like me, without a deadline, I don't really accomplish much. So without a deadline, you'll just sort of wonder what's out there. But with those application deadlines, you'll be more likely to apply, which is why it's so important to get out there and explore, because with that exploration comes some of that structure and deadlines to push you towards applying to some of these opportunities. Yeah, okay. Strategy 3, be bold.
All right. So we've talked about being open to love for your future. We've talked about exploring your options and doing that with a career discovery mindset. And now we're going to shift into being bold by applying, by saying yes, by reaching out, by expressing your interests, by swiping right. So when it comes to job searching, to internship searching, starting is the most important step, because if we don't start, right, the journey never begins. But starting is really hard. So with a partner, somebody nearby, talk about why is starting so hard. Turn to your neighbor, turn a different direction maybe, be open to the other direction, to the other neighbor, and talk with them about why is starting so hard. Maybe even turn back to the back row or the front row. All right, we want to hear some of your ideas. Why is starting so hard? Why is, let's pretend it's not Friday afternoon. You haven't gone out on Thursday. You haven't gone to a humanities workshop on Friday morning. But let's pretend it's Sunday night or Monday afternoon, and you're still not opening your computer. You're still not swiping right on the opportunities you see on Handshake. Why is it so hard to start? What are some of the ideas that you discussed? Yeah. It can be overwhelming. Oh my gosh, with all the opportunities that are out there on the internet, it's like, how do you even narrow it down? Yeah.
Sometimes you just feel the fear that, you're gonna get rejected, so why?
Rejection, that sucks. I don't know anybody who likes to be rejected. Yeah. Yeah, it can be really scary to start. And it's good for you to start, but it's like, that mountain that I have to climb, there's 10 pages I have to write. I'd rather just not write one. Yeah, any other ideas? All right, well, Brittney and I did some brainstorming ahead of time. And some of the ideas that we had were that, everyone's busy, right? Like sometimes these extra things take a back seat to the things that we have to do, like homework, like, work, like other responsibilities with our extracurricular activities or our loved ones or the community that we're involved in. And then also personal time, like we want to relax, we want to take a break from our to-do list. And this is something that's on our to-do list. Especially when it seems so far away, too, that can be really challenging to start when there are so many other priorities that are here and now and need to be accomplished actually yesterday, and now we're just getting around to them. Rejection. Alex mentioned rejection. That, like I said, nobody likes to be rejected. I haven't met that person who's like, what I'd really like to do is spend an hour revising my resume, tailoring a cover letter, just to get an automatic message and know that nobody even read my application. Like, no, nobody wants to do that. That just sucks. And then, you know what? Employers sometimes ghost applicants. It doesn't just happen in relationships, in love. It can also be that you're having a conversation with a recruiter, you think an interview is going to be scheduled, it sounds very promising, they've asked you about your schedule, you followed up with your schedule, and then silence. And you're like, what? Hello? Do I wave a flag? What do I do here? It stinks to be ghosted. And then there's also the, what if they say yes? Oh my gosh, now I have to think about all the things I have to do to prepare for that moment. And that's overwhelming too. So yes, starting is so hard. But what we want you to know is that other students have started. And Mia actually is the very first quote. These are quotes from actual students. And we have Mia, who was a guest speaker in PH 383, the pre-internship class that Brittney and I teach. And she shared just 2 weeks ago with the students in the class that once you step beyond your comfort zone, it gets bigger. Your zone becomes bigger, and you try more and more new things. And this is absolutely true. Other students have told us, you know what? I should have sent that DM to that recruiter months ago, because it turns out they're interested. Other students have said that they've been nervous, but they're so glad because they learned a lot. Maybe you felt that this way this morning. Or maybe instead of feeling nervous, you felt tired. There's many different emotions that could be substituted for nervous, but you're glad you did it once you do it. And then there's also other students who are like just ecstatic because they said yes. And that's so thrilling when somebody agrees to an interview, or they offer you an internship, or they even offer you a full-time paid job after graduation. So we have a huge long list right here of first step ideas. So some of the things you can do are visit office hours of your professors to ask them for advice and insight to their own career journey. You can apply to an on-campus job by using Handshake. You can identify a research opportunity and talk to a faculty member about how to explore that research idea. You can send a DM on social media. While Handshake is the platform that many people use to reach out about advertised positions, there are many, many unadvertised positions that can come from the beginning of a conversation. And in today's world, you can begin that conversation by DMing. And so your network isn't just the people that you can physically talk to in person, but it's also people you can reach out to through electronic means. Maybe you attend next week's career fair. The university is having all university career fair on Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 4. And then also on Tuesday afternoon is the retail fuse. So if you're interested in fashion, there's a fashion-focused career fair. And then on Wednesday evenings, the Eller Business Showcase. All students can go to that, even if you don't have affiliation with Eller. So maybe it's next week, carving out some time in your schedule to attend the career fair. All right, so the reason you should do this is because there's very likely a perfect match for you out there. 4 years ago at Love Your Future, Lauren Beers was a student who was in your seat. She attended Love Your Future, she heard information, and at the lunch, she met somebody named Jessie. Hey Jessie, could you wave at me? So Lauren, a student, met Jessie, an alum. She and Jessie chatted at lunch. It was just a chat. Later that spring, Lauren slid in to Jessie's DM on LinkedIn and said, hey, I met you at Love Your Future. I so enjoyed getting to know you. I was wondering if there's an opportunity for me to learn more about your career journey. Fast forward, Lauren ended up interning for Jessie because she so impressed her with that conversation that began with a very casual chat, Love Your Future lunch, ended up being a DM, and that bravery, I'm sure Jessie could share more details later about how Lauren sealed that deal later. So what we want you to do now on your worksheet, the very bottom of the back page, is an opportunity for you to brainstorm and to make the commitment to one career-related action step that you've wanted to take, or that maybe has come to you today that you haven't yet taken action on. And so what we want you to do is to identify your first step in taking action. So we're going to give you a moment to write that commitment to that first step down. And after you've written that down, we will ask you to share your commitment with a partner. All right, thank you so much for joining Brittney and me as we explored these 3 strategies to finding opportunities that you'll love. They are, again, opening your heart, exploring your options, and being bold. A fun plug, Brittney and I teach a course all about career readiness, so if you've liked this content, feel free to reach out to Brittney and I. We're happy to engage with you. If you're in 383, can you raise your hand and wave it right now, or have taken it in previous semesters? Those are also people you can talk to about the real deal of if the class is worth it. I haven't paid anybody, but I feel pretty confident they're going to say, yeah, it's fun and also nerve-wracking to think about your future, but it's definitely beneficial. So thank you for your time and attention.